This is lesson 5 of the body systems topic entitled Movement Joints. By the end of the lesson you should be able to tell me what a joint is, recall the name of 3 different types of joints, and finally recall the names of the parts of a joint and describe what they do. Okay, we're going to get straight into some note taking. So as it says at the top there, this needs to go into your books, the title Joints. Okay, so joints occur where 2 or more bones are joined together. Most joints are flexible, however some bones in your skeleton are joined rigidly together and can't move. You have to be able to give the names of 3 examples of joints, and the first one is the hinge joint, and this allows movement backwards and forwards, for example the knee and the elbow, which we'll be looking at in a few moments. The second type of joint is the ball and socket joint, and this allows movement in all directions, and examples of ball and socket joints can be found in the hip and the shoulder. And finally, fixed joint do not allow any movement at all, for example in the skull. As you may be aware, when a baby's born, there is an exposed part of the skull where the bone hasn't fully joined together. That will eventually fuse and you have what's called a fixed joint. Could you pause the video now and make sure that you've got that written down into your notes? Okay, the last bit of note taking you need to do today is to have the following diagram copied down and correctly labelled in your books. So again, for your notes, if you put the title The Hinge Joint, what we're going to do is identify the different parts of the joint and find out what they exactly do. Okay, so if we start off here with the tendon. Now the tendon is this part here. It joins muscle to bone, and we'll see why that's necessary a little bit later, but tendons join muscles to bone. Now, similar to a tendon, it's easy to get confused between these two, are ligaments. They simply attach bone to bone. Okay, so ligaments attach bone to bone, tendons attach muscle to bone. Now, when these bones move, they want to be able to move freely. So we have a lubricating fluid, a bit like oil for the body as it were, called synovial fluid. And that simply allows the bones to move over each other smoothly. Now, when the bones do move, we don't want those bones actually rubbing against each other. So we have a material called cartilage, which is a spongy substance which is at the end of the bone, and it stops those bones from rubbing into each other, wearing the bone out, and the process actually causing quite a bit of pain. So can you make sure, I know it's a tricky diagram, normally I'd have this printed off for you, but can you do your best to draw that diagram, make sure that it's correctly labelled and you've got the functions of those different parts. Pause the video and make a copy of the diagram. Okay, this animation, you don't need to write this down or anything, it just gives you an impression of an example of a hinge joint. Here is the elbow, and in this case the joint is where 3 bones meet. So you've got the upper arm bone, the radius here, you've got the lower arm bone here, the ulna, and you've got the large arm bone here, the humerus. So this is the elbow joint, and it's an example of a hinge joint because the elbow can only move up and down, it can't move outwards and inwards into the screen there. Okay, so quite a short lesson, fair bit of information there for you to digest, but you should now be able to recall that joints are the places where 2 or more bones meet. You should be able to recall the 3 different types of joint, fixed, hinged, and ball and socket, and be able to give examples where you might find those 3 joints. And finally, recall and describe the functions of different parts of a joint, e.g. tendons attach muscle to bone.